Hey guys, this is Not Lamers from Invoked 101, and today I'm doing a deck profile on one of my buddy's decks. This is the Noble Knight deck profile. So, with all the new stuff that's been revealed for this deck, there's been plenty of new cards, we got some new support, and while it's not the greatest support, I figured I might as well get this deck profile out before, do a before and after, I guess. So that way you guys can see how the deck kind of evolves, and I'll also talk a little bit about different cards that are probably going to be coming out of the deck for different. I don't know the exact names of the new guys, but I was talking to my friend who actually runs this deck, and so I'll talk about the cards that are like the best in the deck and that might be soon to be replaced with the new support. So first off is like some of the staple cards for Noble Knights, and that is Medrout. He is a level 4, and like a bunch of the Noble Knights, he's a vanilla monster when he first hits the field, but when he gets equipped with something, he turns from a light monster to a dark monster and gains a bonus effect. And his effect is, like, I believe it's if you don't control any other Noble Knights, you get a special summon one out of the deck, which is pretty cool. He's a 1700 body, and usually the Noble Arms equip spells give them like a attack stat boost, so he can actually turn into a pretty beefy monster really quickly. And he's just like one of the ones that you need to run at 3. And yeah, the next one that people usually run at 3 is Boars. Boars is really similar, so much like Medrout, he gains whenever he hits the field, he's a vanilla, but then once equipped, he gains a 1 extra level, he turns to a dark monster, and he allows you to show your opponent 3 Noble Arms equip spells. I believe they have to be different. 3, nope, just any 3. So you could show them like 3 of the same Noble Arms card, and then your opponent randomly picks one, but you know, you could just reveal 3 Caliburn or 3 Destiny and force your opponent to give it to him. So yeah, so he's really good. And then you shuffle the others back into the deck. The next 3 is, of course, Noble Knight Brothers. And so what Noble Knight Brothers does is whenever he can't declare an attack if you don't control 2 other Noble Knights, but he works as kind of like a an in-theme Ties of the Brethren. So whenever he's normal summoned, you get to special summon up to 2 Noble Knights from your. Actually, I think you have to special summon 2. You can summon up to 2, yeah, so summon up to 2 Noble Knights, which is insane. It just grants you so much advantage, and while he doesn't have a lot of attack, his defense is pretty nutty with 2400 on a level 4, so if you're able to somehow get him in defense mode, he could be a pretty decent blocker. But yeah, and so those are like the main staple guys, Noble Knight names. Then, of course, we have the other guy, the non-Noble Knight, who's a 3 of, which is Merlin. Merlin's pretty insane. So what he does is you contribute him to special summon a Noble Knight. Then his other effect is you can banish him from the graveyard during either player's turn and Xyz summon a Noble Knight or Synchro summon a Noble Knight. So pretty nuts. He's just one of the best cards in the deck. 1400, but usually he's not staying on the field to my knowledge. He is a level 3 spellcaster, so maybe there's some synergy with Spellbook of Knowledge here somewhere, and then like you could use like his effect from the graveyard to like Xyz summon, but you know, that's just me talking. So, and then next we got like 2 ofs and 1 ofs for the Noble Knight cards, and put those guys right there because they're not Noble Knights, so we'll cover them last. First up is the 2 of Noble Knight Gwaine. What he does is if you control a light normal monster, you can special summon him from your hand in defense position. So while he has 1900 attack, it kind of does suck that he goes into defense position, and that's kind of a theme with some of the Noble Knights, is that they seem a little bit restricted, but being a TCG archetype, it's kind of a given that something like that was going to happen. So then we have 1 copy of I don't know, she's the Noble Arms girl that equips herself. I actually didn't read this card. I know that she changes her effect based on its light or dark, and I think she actually bounces a card back to the hand with one of her effects. But yeah, so she's okay, but you don't really want to see her too much because the actual Noble Arms equip spells are a lot better than she is, in my opinion. Then we have Bedweir, and he I know that whenever he's like summoned or like once per turn, you get to send a Noble Arms equip spell from the deck to the grave, and then you get to pop a card with him by doing something with the Noble Arms equip spell. You can target a Noble Arms equip spell card and one appropriate monster on the field. Equip that spell card to that monster. No, never mind. Doesn't pop anything. He just equips it from the grave. So that's pretty cool. And then we have what is this guy? Then we have Gwalshavad. We have Gwalshavad, and Gwalshavad, what he does is he's a vanilla like Meddrout and Boars, except his effect when he gets equipped with something is that he doesn't gain a level or become dark. He just simply gives you the bonus effect to put a Noble Knight from your graveyard back into your hand. Then we have Dristan, and what Dristan does is he kind of works as like a lightning rod for the other Noble Knights. Your opponent can't target Noble Knights with 1800 or less attack except for him, or for attacks or card effects. So that's pretty good on him. And that's it for the Noble Knight stuff. All the Noble Knights kind of work in conjunction with each other. They all kind of work together. But yeah, and so for the last two non-Noble Knight cards, it's 2 Ghost Ogre. This could be 2 Ash, 2 Valor, whatever. Whatever you feel like. But yeah, that's it for the monsters. So you would definitely want to load up on the better ones and kind of like shrink down on the weaker ones. So next up is the spell cards, and I believe this is all spell. No, there's a few traps. But first is 3 Excalibur, and what Excalibur does is it makes the monster untargetable. Yeah, it can't be targeted by card effects, and then except the card and then once it's in the graveyard, you can banish it and rank up your Noble Knight, your rank 4 Noble Knight, and turn it into a rank 5 Noble Knight by banishing this. So that's pretty cool, but it's not as I honestly would have preferred if it had the regular Noble Arms effect to equip itself. So yeah. Then we have 3 Noble Arms of Destiny. This one is probably one of the better ones. Once per turn, the equipped monster can't die by battle or card effect, and then if this leaves the field, if it's destroyed on the field, you get to target a Noble Knight monster you control and re-equip it from the graveyard. And so that's kind of what all the Noble Arms do. So if it has that effect, I'll just say it has the Noble Arms effect. So yeah. So 3 of those because it's just one of the better ones. And then for the last 3 of one is, oh wait, no, this is a 2 of. 2 Caliburn. Caliburn gives it 500 attack, and then it has the Noble Arms effect to re-equip itself. So this one's pretty good as well. I believe you can also only control one of this one, yeah. And you can also only control one of the Destiny, so yeah. This one's pretty okay, but the 500 attack boost is nice, and re-equipping is definitely nice, especially with some of the stuff that how the monsters go. Then we have 1 Galatine, and what Galatine does is it gives it 1000 attack, but during your standby phase it loses 200. This one also has the Noble Arms effect to re-equip itself. And one of the last Noble Arms equip spell, actually this is the last Noble Arms card, is Arfretter. And Arfretter lets you pop a card once per turn, right? You get to target a set card your opponent controls and drop your equipped monster by 500, and then pop a card, and I believe this does have the Noble Arms effect. Yep. So, very cool card. Not as good as some of the other ones, but could come up as an archetype searchable MST. And the way you search it is kind of interesting, is Glory of the Noble Knights. So what this does is a quick play spell, which is pretty nutty, and it lets you equip 1 Noble Arms equip spell from your deck to an appropriate target on your side of the field. It's a hard once per turn, but that's still pretty good. This card is pretty nutty. So, and then for some non-Noble Knight specific stuff, we have Rhoda because it's limited, Soul Charge because it's limited, Raigeki because it's limited, Monster Reborn because it's limited, and that's it for the spell cards. I dropped a card, but yeah, that's it for the spell cards. So let me just kind of, like I said, this is my buddy's deck that I'm profiling, so I'm gonna try and keep it all in order to a degree. And lastly, for the trap cards, he is running 2 Solemn Scolding and 1 Judgment because he's effectively running 3 Judgments. And for those who don't know what Scolding does, is it's basically Judgment. It says no to anything, but it's a pay 3,000, and it has to be the only set card you control. But because a lot of your stuff is equip spells, they'll be face up and not set. So, and even if you do have a set card, which is like Glory the Noble Knights, you can just flip that up and then activate this later. So yeah, that's it for the main deck. So pretty interesting main deck, but it's the extra deck of this deck where things get nutty. So we're gonna start with, we're kind of gonna go out of order. So we're gonna start with 2 Isolde. So what she does is she works as a Rhoda for the deck. Whenever she's a link summon, you can search 1 warrior type monster from your deck and add it to your hand, but you cannot activate effects of those monsters or normal or special or do anything with that monster for the rest of this turn. Then you can send any amount of equip spells with different names from your deck to the graveyard and special summon a warrior from your deck with this level, whose level is equal to the amount of equip spells sent. So she loads up your graveyard, summons out a guy. That's pretty good. So sending 4 to get a level 4 out, or sending actually, no, she can't summon Merlin. I thought she could, but I don't think she can. But yeah, so 2 of these because she only needs 2, and so Noble Knight Brothers spits this thing out like no tomorrow. Next up, 3 Artorias, Noble Knight of the Noble Knight, King of the Noble Knights. And so what he does is whenever he's XZ summoned, you get to target 3 Noble Arms equip spells with different names in your graveyard. Equip those targets to this guy. Once per turn, you can detach 1 XZ material card, destroy any number of spell trap cards on the field up to the number of Noble Arms equip spells you control. So he gets to blow up back row up to the number of Noble Arms you control, and that doesn't include different names. So if you have like 4 of this, not like 4 of the same one, but if you have like a couple of the same one on the field, he still gets to pop that much back row. And that could also potentially help you like with re-equipping some of your guys, some of your Noble Arms to different Noble Knights. So that's what he's there for. Then we have Sacred King Artorias, which does something similar, except you get to, I believe it's you pop a Noble Arms. He does the same thing whenever he's actually summoned. You get to put 3 Noble Arms cards from your graveyard onto him. But then I believe he gets to pop one of his Noble Arms equipped spells and then pop a card your opponent controls. So that's pretty good too. Or detach a material and do the same thing, something like that. And that's it for the Noble Knight stuff in the extra deck. So other than that, we have Castell for small removal, the mini Utopia package with Utopia and Utopia Lightning, and that's it for the XYZ monsters. And then going back into links, because there are no actual Synchro monsters in here, we 1 Decode and 1 Borolo Dragon, and of course you could also put in like Proxy Dragon, I don't know. But yeah, you could put in some other stuff in here as well to help bolster the deck. So, yeah. So let's get the thumbnail shot going again. But yeah, that has been the Noble Knight deck profile. I want to ask what you guys think might work in here, because like I said, this is actually my friend's deck, and I have some thoughts about it myself. Like I think Scapegoat might work really well in here to help kind of boost out links a lot quicker. But yeah, anyway, tell me your guys' thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.